Giving all glory, all honor, and all praises to the mighty Yah. Welcome to Sether Leon, Duty of Man podcast on marriage and relationships. This is episode 26. And last week we had a lot of open interaction. We're going to open up the channels again today. And hopefully the same audience we had last week can attend, because I know we had some questions, a whole lot of questions and comments. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started into the podcast. I would like to introduce Morey Yemuel, who is the host of the Marriage and Relationship Podcast. Hallelujah. How you feeling today?
Hallelujah. Like I say, good to be back in the seat here. I'm trying to continue on with this work that we're trying to do as far as trying to help build relationship that will hopefully lead to a marriage if in fact the people are not already married. What we're trying to do is just give people positive information that can help build relationships, and then debunk some of the stereotypes and some of the falsehoods that's going around. Tell people what's really going on and how to, like I say, how to help promote better quality relationships, and what we need to know about how we choose, what a woman should be looking for and what a man should be looking for. On our 25th episode, which was last week, I started out with a question. And that question was, what should a man be looking for? Someone that was kind, nurturing, wise, a woman that was non-combative, that she wasn't loud and obnoxious, someone that can control her spirit, someone who respects the order of marriage. And then we gave some examples how she could be a good teacher to their children if they had children, also being a nurturing mother to their children, and someone who also knows how to nurture her relationship and doesn't want to be out in the streets or at the clubs all the time or something like that. But we didn't get a chance to talk about what a woman should be.
Lady, now you're gonna like this one.
Something here. And we're gonna get a chance to talk about that too, hopefully on the open forum here. What I'm seeing all over the internet is one of the prerequisites that women have for men in today's times. And of course, these have to be modern women. If we need to, difference between a traditional man and a traditional woman. And I'm talking about tradition that was passed down by way of the law of the Most High Yah versus that modern mentality. But a woman, she should want someone that she's going to trust, that will lead her, and if they have children, in the right way, and will protect their family. She wants someone who's going to protect their family. But I have to make this statement here, because a lot of women tend to think that some men can be controlling. And I have to say this, there's a difference between someone who just being just outright just controlling, over controlling or whatever. But a man cannot, or a husband cannot protect anything that he don't have any control over. You see what I'm saying with that, King?
Oh, yeah.
And that absolutely makes no sense. If I don't have any type of control over my household, how can I protect you? If you're not going to be a type of individual who listens or willing to take instruction, how can I protect you if I say, hey, listen, it's not wise to go to this particular area at a certain time of the day, or maybe even late in the evening or the nighttime, but you don't listen and you don't and you don't give information as to where you are. If something was to go down, how can that husband protect you?
Yeah.
You see, so we want to get into some deep conversations and talk about some things. Now, a husband is responsible if he's traditional, and again, passed down by way of the Most High's law. He's responsible to make sure he's providing resources and protection to his family. However, a boyfriend, and I listened to this just even again today, all across the internet, ladies, you can see that it seems to be a prerequisite for women for if they're just being someone's girlfriend, that they have a standard that he should be paying their bills and they should have this soft life. Ladies, I have to say this again. A man's resources is for his wife, for his family, not his girlfriend. A man should not be responsible for financing someone's life. That makes it just transactional. You see what I'm saying, King? That seems like you're going to be with me for what I can do for you, and that's all it is. It's strictly transactional. So let's talk about that for a minute. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's just goes across the board for all relationships. I feel like it's like that in a lot of relationships. People are in it for what they can gain rather than to experience a feeling of love. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's ultimately the reasons why we have relationships, is that we're looking for some type of commonality, or we're looking for something spiritual, something immaterial. Because most, as we've always talked about here on the podcast, is that most men can acquire things on their own. You know what I'm saying? We can go and most women can today too, if we keeping the buck, you know. So it's like we both have the ability to go out and get resources nowadays. So our relationships, you know, it should be based on that. You know what I'm saying? Our relationship should be based on something deep, having a true love and understanding of a person, and realizing that, you know, you're going to go through tough times, or one person in a relationship may go through tough times, and you have to be there and support that person. You know what I'm saying? If you truly love this person, you know. So I think relationships should be more, we should prioritize love, you know, prioritize more love, real love, you know, and not actual, you know, gain. So, gain in the, you know, in the wrong sense, not the right sense.
Here's my suggestion for men and for women. Understand this. A relationship shouldn't be just based on something that's transactional. Because, fellas, what that mean is when your money run dry, that means she's gone.
Yeah.
If she's only there because of what you can provide, if there's no real interest, if she has no real interest in you, but her interest is only in what you can provide for her, once your resources is gone because you just given, and that absolutely makes no sense, because a relationship should be, especially if it's a caring, nurturing relationship, it should be reciprocal.
Yeah.
That means the things that you can do for her, she shouldn't have a problem doing some of those same things for you. Now, men, we don't think that they should do just as much, but show some appreciation. Don't always feel like it has to be about you taking care of something for her. Because, see, one of the first things we should understand is being grown, mature people, being male and female, that our first responsibility is to know how to take care of ourselves, even before we enter into a relationship with someone else. And so that's what grown folk do. We learn how to pay our own bills. We make sure that we can take care of self. And a lot of times, if someone is just being dependent on you, and that's the only reason they want to be with you, that should tell you that that individual really don't care anything at all about you. Only about your resources. Now, let me keep this in a proper perspective. Ladies, I'm talking about you right now. I'm saying if your requirement, if it's a prerequisite for a man to pay your bills, and I know this isn't all women, just a whole bunch. And ladies, and if you think that I'm in error about this, just get on the internet, search it, and you'll see it all day long. If you're only looking for, and I'm not being accusatory.
To our Facebook audience too. We got 4 people tuned in on Facebook.
All right.
Leave y'all comments. Comment in. This is an open discussion, open conversation.
There you go. But ladies, if you're looking for someone and your only interest is what they can do for you, and once they can no longer do for you, then they're out the door and you're on to the next, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. And guys, you should never go into a relationship leading with your wallet.
That's right.
You should never. Matter of fact, you should never get involved with someone who is not into you, fellas. Listen to what I'm saying. If she is not into you, matter of fact, you can be very wealthy. Just don't let her know that you're wealthy off the top. Don't lead with your wallet. If you've got a more than one vehicle, don't show up in your best vehicle.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If you got a little slider, you got a little hoopty, show up in your hoopty.
Right.
See how she deals with you. You know, and I'm not being accusatory against all women. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some women out there that are predators. And of course, there are men that are predators. But right now, we're trying to stay on topic here. Because in fact, ladies, we know that it's the men who decides who get married. Women, again, they give access to who they will lay with. But that ultimate goal is marriage. And ladies, if you've been with someone for quite some time and they haven't proposed marriage to you, you need to start entertaining that question as to why that hasn't happened yet. Because really, after about maybe 6 months, a person should know whether he has good intentions for you or if it's just a little plaything. Yeah. But before we move on, are there any questions so far?
We have no questions so far. We got 3 people tuned in.
We got 3 people tuned in. So let's go on with this here. Like I say, a wife should want someone that she can trust to lead her, and if they have children, in the right way and protect their family. But we just talked about a man cannot protect something that he don't have any control over. Now let's keep in mind, ladies, that and men, that it is a man's responsibility to provide and protect. That's what we do. And mainly that is for your wife and children. For your wife and children. So a lot of times in relationships, modern-minded people tend to put the cart before the horse. Because we can't go into a relationship out of order, but then we want to see order in the midst of chaos. And what do I mean by that? Don't date just for sexual privileges and sexual purposes. I mean, because the dating process should be just that. The dating process, not trying to shoe on to see how well it fits, so to speak. That's not what it's about. Talk to him about that for a minute, King. Because it seems to me like that's what dating is about in today's time. It's about getting with somebody, being intimate with them, being physical with them, and until there's a couple of hiccups and maybe you move on, or maybe you don't even talk about marriage. Maybe marriage isn't even in the equation. Well, how do you expect that to be blessed? Especially if we're out of order, right?
You got a comment from our sister on Facebook, Shanice Parsons. She says this pool of men are very scarce.
Yes, and likewise, the pool of women are very scarce. See, if people didn't send representatives, if in fact they sent their true self, if they went in just talking about what it is, in fact, that they really want, then that would help the situations to move about faster, because this person can be dismissed, that person can be dismissed, this person can be taken a better look at, depending on what they actually want. Some people, believe it or not, really want someone that they can love. They really want someone that will love them and appreciate them. Some people really want someone that they can share their life with and build something with and have a family and raise children. Some people don't want that. Other people might just want to have a good time. And that woman, she might not be Miss Right. She might just be Miss Right now. You see? And so we have to figure out, what we're actually doing. See, if we want to have success, we got to come correct. And a lot of times men don't come correct. And a lot of times women don't come correct. And the fact of the matter is, when we play stupid games, we win stupid prizes, right? So let's talk about something for a minute. People when they enter into relationships to where they're looking for a good individual, they should make it clear, whether it's the male or the female, what they're looking for. That way the other person can decide if that's what they want to be about with that particular individual. They should make it known if they're actually looking for someone that they can build a relationship with and hopefully get married. They should be able to expose whether they're just looking to have a good time and they're just looking for a friends with benefits type situation, or if they're just looking for just some hookups. See, that way a lot of things can be eliminated. So we have to be truthful with one another. And that's the problem today. A lot of people are just not truthful. And when we talk about a man, he's supposed to be able to provide and protect. He's actually supposed to be able to bring stability to a relationship as well. That means a woman, she has to cooperate in order for that man to bring stability to that relationship. That means you have to be on the same page. So when you first get with somebody, you need to take at least a good month, 2 months, maybe 3 months, just to see if in fact you are even on the same page. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be in a relationship with anybody that you're not on the same page with, because that's only bound to fail. It's only bound to fail. So I absolutely agree with that. Scriptures say, how can two walk together? Scriptures say, how can two walk together except they be agreed? Right? You can't walk together. Y'all may walk together physically, but you're truly not unified. And a lot of that is going on in relationships. People are not on the same page, not going the same direction. You understand? If you are a man and the captain of the ship, that's why the Almighty holds us responsible for our relationships. If you are a man and the captain of your ship, you have to make sure that everybody on the ship understands where we are going, right? So.
Let me give you an example of something that shouldn't be done, and you take someone serious. Never get into a relationship with someone thinking you can take them serious if in fact they cheated on someone to get with you. So that's if the woman cheated on the person she was with to get with you, or if the man cheated on the person he was with to get with you. Don't think about marrying that individual. That's not a relationship that you can necessarily count on, because most likely the same way you got them is the same way you're going to lose them. Like I said, I've made it known, this is not my first marriage. And I was in a relationship with someone, and I never knew at the time that that individual was cheating on the individual to be with me. But that's the same way I ended up losing that same person. She was cheating on me with someone else. And then later on, with my naive self, which I'm not so naive anymore, I also found out that I was a bet. I found out that I was a bet. That this individual could get me. Oh man, and I married that individual. You see what I'm saying? I was younger, but I should have been wiser. And so when we go through things, then we should learn from them.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, we should definitely learn from our mistakes. So never take someone serious if they cheated on the individual that they were with to get with you. Make sense?
Oh yeah.
That ever happened with you? You ever cheated on somebody, or somebody cheated on the person they were with to get with you?
Similar situation.
I think most of us have probably experienced something like that, especially when we got a little later.
Most people, when they move on from relationships, usually when relationships go bad, it's because, we didn't address the problem that was there. You know what I'm saying? It's good. Okay. Yeah. Most of the time relationships end because we refuse to address the problem that was there, not make an excuse of, or try to make something out to be the problem that wasn't the problem. You know what the problem was. People in relationships know what the problem is. The thing is, are we willing to fix it? If we're not willing to fix it, then we shouldn't be together. I want to be with somebody we can fix our problems. Okay. That's a long-lasting relationship, because we're going to have problems in relationships. Going to have problems everywhere you go and whatever you have. There's going to be problems. That's life. Can we get through our problems together? If we can't do that, then we're not walking together, clearly.
You just brought up a good point. As grown adults, when you get with someone and you're talking about working through problems, and you're right, every relationship, whether it's a friendship, a business relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend type situation, a marriage, whatever it is, there's always going to be a certain level of discomforts, of problems. And you have to be able to work out your problems, which is going to involve the individuals having emotional intelligence and having emotional maturity. Now let's talk about emotional intelligence for a minute. That's just the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and help influence the emotions of others. That means a lot of times
Keep saying that definition.
yeah. Emotional intelligence. It's the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of others. And a lot of times, say for example, there has to be accountability on both parts. Sometimes in a relationship, somebody don't want to be held accountable. And so they have fits, and they just go all over the place, and they like to argue and just go on, and it's always your fault and the whole 9 yards or whatnot. That is not the type of individual that you really want to entertain a relationship with, because it will not be productive.
It won't be productive. And I think that's the key word.
It will not be productive. You see, accountability is key. And like I say, things are reciprocal, because in a relationship, say like if a man, say he's a husband, or he's potentially going to be a woman's husband, she wants him to actually help, she should want him to bring stability, right? Well, if she wants him to be stable, she should also be stable, right? If she wants him to be a protector, then she has to be cooperative in order for him to be able to protect her and the family and whatnot. So things have to be cohesive. And a lot of times, if things are not cohesive, because one's emotions get away with them, and then they're all over the place, they're combative, they're this, they're that, then that's bringing a danger to that relationship.
Yeah. And that's why we have to lead with love. We have to lead with love, because love covers all sins. When you truly love a person, you can love them past the external layer. You understand what I'm saying? How many relationships people go through where the external layer changes and you lose attraction for the person? That's real. You know what I mean? Stuff like that happens every day, right? But when you can love, and we have to learn what love is through the Creator, through the Most High. The Most High chose the most rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-hearted people on the planet, but He can still love us past all of that. That's how righteous and great He is, right? So the Almighty is always our barometer. He's our standard of how we should love a person. He even tells us that you must love yourself before you can love anybody else. You know what I'm saying? How many people out here in relationships actually don't love themselves and self-sabotage when the right person comes along?
I can tell you what, a lot of people self-sabotage. And I'm going to ask a question right now just to see exactly where we are as a people. Women, a lot of times they want their man to, because women will, guys, listen to me. And women tell me if I'm lying, and we're gonna be honest. Women will test a man all throughout that relationship. She's going to test you fellas throughout that entire relationship, because she want to make sure that you're going to be able to pass that test. Now, believe it or not, some women don't always want you to just say yes to them. Some women. Now, a lot of them want you to always say yes. They don't ever want to hear no. But if a woman always get yes from you, she's going to start losing respect for you. she's going to start losing respect because there's sometimes she know that you should be telling her no.
Right, the truth. Yeah.
You should be telling her no. But if you tell her yes all the time, she's going to look at you as being weak. And a lot of times you might not know you're failing the test. So let me ask this question, and I want to see what we come up with on this. There's a study out, and it's extremely accurate, that about 1/3 of men who go get DNA tested for a child, 1/3 of those that go get tested find out that they are in fact not the father. I'm under the impression that if an individual is being true with you, if they're into you, if they're trying to have a relationship with you and you only at that particular time, that, ladies, if you were to find yourself with child, would you have a problem getting a DNA test? With a man having a DNA test to prove maternity? Because a lot of women, believe it or not, don't want that. And that's been a topic of discussion. That's been a big topic of discussion. Women are furious. But if you have nothing to hide, because only the mother would really know the truth. So in a marriage, I believe also even in a marriage, because we can't say that married women don't cheat. Married men cheat. Why wouldn't some married women cheat as well? Right? Not that there should be any of that going on, but I want to know how y'all feel about that. Because I think that if a person is going to be exclusive with someone, meaning that individual is not going to be dealing with someone else, that they should be exclusive. But in today's time, a lot of times people make it very hard for someone to trust them. Right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, ladies? If anybody out there, do you think that it should be a problem or it shouldn't be a problem for a man to be able to get a paternity test, whether he's married, engaged to you, or dating you? Because again, like I said, that's only 1/3 of the people who actually go to get tested. Not everybody. That's just 1/3 of the people who go get tested are found not to be the father. Now, those are facts. You got any comments on that up there?
Yeah. Shanice Parsons, we appreciate your participation. She says, I think the difficulty for me, I think the difficulty for me is wasting my time. Time is definitely of the essence because this is a forever bond. I've been married twice, and both times it was years off my life to be with someone that I was equally yoked with. She said she will recommend getting tests, so no questions are asked later.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, that's a good thing, because a lot of times, even in relationships, when you think that you're exclusive, it's unfortunate in so many cases, it's not an exclusive relationship like an individual might think that it is. Like I say, I've personally had experience with that in my past relationships, and when you're thinking that it's one way and then you find out that it's not, especially if you were into that individual, but you find out that that individual wasn't so into you, it can be somewhat devastating. So that's why I say take the time, make sure you're vetting an individual right. And ladies, just please keep this in mind. When we talk about a high value man and a high value woman, let's take it a step deeper. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as you should be concerned, and that's the reason we have to be very careful with giving ourselves away. A woman is her femininity makes her high value. Not only that, the fact that maybe she is not been, or let me put it this way, that she's not been with a bunch of people, so to speak. And I really want to say less than that, makes her high value. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, King?
Her virginity.
There you go. And I'm trying to, because see, I know
Sexual
that.
discipline.
Right. See, and I know that a lot of people have made those mistakes, and that's what we'll call them, have made those mistakes because, see, the fact of the matter is sometimes we make a lot of mistakes before we actually learn better. And I know once we learn better, that's when we should actually be doing better. So I can't really fault anybody because I participated in things myself that I ought not have been participating in my younger years as well when I wasn't married. So I can't like point the finger, so to speak. But when it comes to women, don't give up your greatest asset. Don't just give it up. Don't let someone sweet talk you. And I know that we've all made our errors, but do that mean that we have to keep making those same errors? Because we say, well, I've been doing it for so long, it's just who I am now. No. If we start respecting ourselves first, then that's when we can stop allowing other people to disrespect us. Once we start respecting ourselves. And it's just that we need to make sure that the women know a man isn't necessarily looking for somebody who's got a whole lot of experience. Because I've heard women say that, well, it's going to be to his benefit because I know how to do this and I know how to do that. He wants it. No. That's not the way that it actually works. So we're talking about things that actually matter. And the fact of the matter is we've learned wrong and we have to unlearn some of those negative things that can be to our detriment, that can be to our downfall. And we have to start replacing those negative things with more positive behaviors. Everybody good with what I just said?
Yeah. I wanted to add something
to that.
Another thing I wanted to add in there was the aspect of healing in relationships. A lot of people are afraid to go within themselves. A lot of people don't know how to go within themselves and deal with traumas and deal with, and actually, look at their reflection and say, look, I need help in this area, or I need to make changes in this area. And oftentimes it don't even have to be that deep. A lot of times you just got to be real and just communicate it to the person you with, and then y'all work on that together. Relationships are about working together. It's not about working alone. A lot of people are working alone in relationships or using people, you know what I'm saying, to just their benefit. Like, we as leaders of our household, we have to understand that everything we do has to benefit everybody. You know what I'm saying? How does this benefit not just you, but benefit everybody? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what would increase the value of our relationships, is understanding how are we both benefiting. You know what I'm saying? One of the things I encouraged is always having an optimistic mind. That's a skill and that's a strength. How many people out here are not optimistic? Everything is about the way that we think. You know what I'm saying? And you can tune into whatever thought pattern you want to tune in when it comes to a person. You want to make sure you're tuned in to the right frequency in a relationship. And that frequency is love. Love, honor, and respect. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But we have to lead with love and understand that aspect of healing. Women are healers, but also men are healers too. Mm-hmm. Men are healers too, And I'm jealous. I don't want no other man healing my woman. I'm going to heal my woman if something going on with her. You know what I'm saying? So, praise Maria.
Well, what we got to look at is we got to look at it for what it is. Mm-hmm. A while ago, we talked about the abnormalities that we were brought up with. And we didn't realize that those were abnormalities because we consider certain things to be normal because we saw it and participated in it so much that we just thought it was normal behaviors. But as we start to search within ourselves and just searching out a matter, those who actually do the work and have done the work, then we realized that we were dealing with abnormal behaviors. And again, something that is abnormal could never be normalized. So when we're taking a closer look at ourselves, we have to figure out, how do I fix or repair me? We can't fix or repair the other person, because that's the work that that other individual has to do for self. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And if they're not doing it for self, they're definitely not going to be doing it for you, or they're not going to be doing it for me. So in order for me to make myself, if I was a single individual, in order for me to make myself a better candidate to be with someone, that would mean I need to work on myself, because I want to show the best possible representation of myself. That means I got to find those ugly things about me that are not right, those things about me that should be made better, and be willing to put in the work. But a lot of times we don't like change because we get comfortable with who we are.
Yeah.
But being comfortable with who we are can make other people be uncomfortable with who we are. And so we're going to clash. So what we have to do is figure out what's the best way to start that change. Because see, a lot of people may want to change, but they just don't know how. So we have to figure out what's the best way to go about this. So we might need to just seek somebody out to try to get, either get on the internet, just do some research, try to find out what's the best way to get started. Because again, I can't force anybody else to change. The only person I can change is actually myself. And a lot of times when we change I've changed certain things about myself, and I have to be honest with you, I feel so much better about it. Because that's that old saying, when you learn better, you do better. That don't always work that way, because a lot of times we know better, but we just don't do better. And a lot of times it's because we're afraid of change, or either we just don't know how. But if you love yourself and you take the Almighty at His word, then we know that we have to make those appropriate changes, because we're the ones who put ourselves in the situation in the first place. Now, a lot of times, don't get me wrong, we inherit certain things. It may be from our mother, our father, from our siblings, from our environment, and we just get accustomed to doing things because that's what we see done. People do what they see done. They say what they hear said. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times we fall in that bucket just like that. But once we recognize, because I don't know if a lot of people self-examine. I'm one who like to self-evaluate. You see what I'm saying? So if a person is really want to be their best version of themselves, because that's what they want, that's who they are, they don't want to misrepresent themselves. Because a lot of times the way we think other people may perceive us can be just the opposite. I might think that I'm projecting myself in a way to where you perceive me in this good way, but you see me completely different. So we just have to really dig deep and be serious about it. And sometimes we have to realize that working on self can take some time. Working on self isn't something that, like I think about today and then tomorrow I'm okay. It don't work that way. It takes time. And those who've actually put in the work know it's an ongoing, as a matter of fact, it's a thing that you probably never actually stop. Because once you start checking yourself and you're serious about it, it's going to constantly make you want to just keep checking, because you're doing it because you want to be the best version of you. You want to present yourself in the best possible way. And you have to have your own reasons for doing it. You can't do it just because somebody else said that they think you should do it. You have to do it for self, and that's work. It's like if someone went to college because they wanted to do a particular thing or be in a particular field, and they were discouraged because they say, boy, you can't do that or whatever. If someone's really serious about what they want for self, then they'll entertain the thoughts that they have to do those things they think they need to do for self to be made better, if that makes sense. Am I making sense to those that might be listening to me right now? And then let me say this. A lot of women in our time, they were taught what they should expect from a man.
Okay.
And we know that.
That's a good talk.
But were they ever taught what a man should expect from them?
Ooh, okay. I like this.
So we see what we got to do is we really got to examine these things now, ladies. Tell me if that's an incorrect statement. A lot of women were taught either by somebody, whether it's their single friend or an adult or whoever. You were taught what you should expect from a man and things that you shouldn't tolerate. But were you taught what you should be giving to a man, the way you should present yourself to a man, the way you should be to a man? Because it should be reciprocal. You want him to love and trust you. Have you been taught how to love a man? Because understand this, men and women are made completely different. Men and women even communicate differently. There's great differences between men and women. A lot of women may not understand, some may, that certain things are emasculating to a man. Certain things you should not say to a man, especially if you want that man.
Yeah.
We communicate completely different. And a lot of times we bring some of those abnormalities to the table and it don't turn out real well. So somebody respond. Read some of these comments that we got here so far.
Shanice Parsons,
And thank you, Shanice, for your comments. Let me cut my mic off here.
Shanice Parsons, she says, I love a man to teach me. No, she says, so she wrote a few comments. She says, women and men be way too worried about looks. And I've had an easy on the eyes man that committed adultery and a not so easy on the eyes man that committed adultery. Same offense, so it doesn't even matter. You know. Now, did he commit adultery or did he, whoremonger? Because adultery means he slept with a married woman. For him. But I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that?
Repeat that again for me.
Yeah. She says, women and men be way too worried about looks, and I've had an easy on the eyes man that committed adultery and a not so easy on the eyes man that committed adultery. Same offense. It don't even matter, it seems like.
Adultery is when a man lies with another man's wife, and adulteress is a woman that is married to a man that lays with a man that is not her husband. Me in particular, I don't want what people say, she's a 10. Because let it be told today, every woman, for the most part, say she's a 10.
Right.
She can be a daggone 4. She'll say she's a 10 or whatever. It really don't make me no difference. But me personally, I would rather have just an average looking woman, but that inside of her, it just makes her seem so good to me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody who knows how to talk to you, how to communicate with you, that's not argumentative, that's friendly, that's kind. That makes that woman even more beautiful to me, personally. So I don't want someone that everybody is trying to get to, because then sometimes that woman get the big head and she feel like she got other options, right? But what she don't realize is in her big-headedness, and I'm not saying all women like that are big-headed, but I'm just saying in this particular case, a woman who claims to be this dime piece, right? And that might not be, and I'm just gonna keep it. But can we keep it a buck here?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I didn't have my mic on, but let me start over because I didn't have my mic on. And if you did hear me, thank you. Let me repeat myself. I'd rather have a person that's just fair to look on, who's got that good heart, that good spirit, that good energy, that's kind, that's loving. To me, she would be more valuable than a woman who thinks that she's this 10 and is thinking that she has so many options. But what she don't realize And she just have the options of who she's going to lay with, because again, I have to remind us that it's the man who decides who he wants to marry or who actually gets married, not the woman. Woman only, and when she has options of who she's going to lay with, and we just need to get away from all of that. But me personally, I agree. I would definitely prefer a woman that everybody isn't just trying to get.
Right.
Because then I don't think that in a lot of cases she's going to be loyal. You see what I'm saying? So just give me that average woman who knows how to love herself, who feels good about the way she looks, and I'm going to feel good about the way she looks. And like I said, it's that inside that matters to me the most. Now, we all want somebody that's not hard on the eyes, or should I say it the way it was put or whatnot. There's somebody that's fair to look on. But my woman don't have to be what they call drop dead gorgeous. She can be that on the inside. That would be more appealing to me, I tell you. That would be a whole lot more appealing to me than somebody that's got those looks on the outside, but her inside is rotten.
Most people don't possess that type of judgment, though.
You're right. Nowadays,
men and women alike. We visual creatures. You know what I'm saying? And God gonna make us pay the price for that. You know what I'm saying? You pick somebody just based on how they look. He got something for you. Especially if he never intended for you to be with this person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we have to be very careful, because Yahweh have given us the power to pick. You know what I'm saying? And everything we see isn't always meant for us. Right, that's what men have to understand. A lot of men be so thirsty, like, you know what I'm saying? Every time they see a beautiful woman, they want to holler at one. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything you see don't belong to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Everything you see, you don't even want parts. You don't want to pay the price for that. You know what I'm saying? You just going off how the looks of a situation, bro.
Women, I know you would teach your daughters to preserve herself. So that's what, in fact, you need to do as well. Even if you've been doing some things that you ought not been doing in the day's time, regardless of what you've done in the past, you can still slow your roll. You can still change, because change always have to start within you. And a lot of times we think that, well, I've done this so long, or I've done this so much, I can't change, or it don't make no difference now. It always makes a difference. It always makes a difference. And the purpose of dating should actually be to find someone that you connect with, that you can communicate with, that you have some things in common with, that you feel like you can build with. And ladies, if speaking of the guy, if he's someone that you will allow to lead you, if you feel like he would be a good leader, then you must allow him to lead you.
Full leadership, not
full leadership,
not 80%, not 90%.
Let me say this. In relationships, hopefully if those relationships lead to, have already led to a marriage, if a woman is supposed to be on her man's program, which she should be because he's the leader, you should be on his program because you should be trusting him to lead you and your family, if you have a family, in that right direction. But if a woman is supposed to be on a man's program, then why won't she follow his lead? Why is she always trying to run the relationship?
Yeah, let me chime in on that. Why would anybody want to seek to have power over a relationship when they know they're not qualified to do it? You know what I'm saying? A lot of that is just based on a lack of respect for the person that's leading. Some women truly believe that they're better than, their partner. And when a woman feels like that, when a woman feels that you're not on her level, how will she treat you? How you think that's going to come across to her? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not asking. It's not about asking a woman to let me lead. It's either I'm leading or I'm not there. You understand? As a man, I'm leading or there's nothing. We have nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So a man should never ask a woman to let me or allow me to do anything. If she's not doing it, then she's out of order. With you, she's out of order.
And a lot of times, women don't understand that. You're supposed to be on his program. And you're right. He shouldn't have to. But a lot of times to make a woman feel comfortable, I can see how a man can say to this woman, especially if she's been used to doing everything herself. Right. And maybe she has a child, maybe she don't or whatnot. I can see him saying, hey, look, why don't you just sit back? I got this. Hey, you've been doing it. Now just allow me to go ahead and lead at this point.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's putting it in a soft way, but saying, hey, look, if you trust me to handle responsibilities for us, for me to provide and protect, then you fall back. You're supposed to be on my program at this point. Now, if you trust that I'm going to lead us in the right direction, then fall back. But if she don't fall back, what do they tell you? She's not the one. That's what it should tell you. She is not the one. See, men have a tendency, because like you said, men tend to be visual. She looks good, she this, she that. But if she's not willing to listen, if she's not willing to follow your instruction, then she can be very dangerous to the relationship. And I said that explicitly. Ladies, am I lying? Let's keep it a buck. I only want the good women to respond to that. If a woman is not willing to receive your instruction, remember, she's the helpmate. She wants to be the wife. If she's not willing to receive your instruction and follow your instruction, then she can be dangerous for that relationship. What do y'all think about that? Because again, if she's not willing to follow instructions, say she's doing some things that he told her not to do, he could be putting her in a situation, or she could be putting herself in a situation that now she actually needs protection. But if he don't have any control over her, not that he has to try to manipulate every move that she makes or something like that, then how can he protect somebody that won't even take his instruction? So a woman, if you're looking to be a wife, understand, if you're looking to be a traditional man's wife, if you're a traditional woman, that shouldn't be a problem for you. But if you have a modern day mentality that women are equal to man, then that can be a problem for a traditional man. So I would advise a traditional man not to get involved with a modern woman, or if you're a traditional woman, don't get involved with a modern man. What do y'all think about that? That's when you have to have these conversations, these deep conversations, to see if you are in fact going to be equally yoked. Because you can be unequally yoked. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to be, a man or a woman don't want to be with someone that they know is going to be a lot of conflict with, just because he look good or she look good. No, looks ain't never paid no bills. Looks ain't never saved nobody's life. So I like for us to have these deep conversations and things that we actually need to be considering when we're actually looking for a mate. That way, ladies, you can see if that man qualifies, right? And men, you can see if that woman qualifies. Because you both have a role that's very important in that relationship. And especially if that relationship is, well, hopefully it's going to lead to a marriage if you're not already married, right? So that means he has to play his role and be responsible, and she has to play her role and be responsible. Because a weak link, and I've got this chain on. If there was a weak link on this chain, the whole chain can just fall, right?
That's right.
So we have to be responsible. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Period. And if somebody don't want to be a strong link, so to speak, if they want to just fall back because they don't want to do their part wholly, then that's not a solid relationship. It's not. Matter of fact, and only that person will know. Because if a relationship is not stable, but one party think that it is stable, the party that knows that it's not stable is the part that's not wholly there. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense to me.
We have to be careful when we get involved in relationships, because a lot of times people get involved in relationships for the wrong reasons. And I wholeheartedly believe at this point in my life that when people get involved in relationships to where they're dating or whatnot, it should be for the purpose of finding a mate. And that mate should be a husband and a wife, because again, when we learn better, we do better. We grew up having boyfriends and girlfriends thinking it was okay to be intimate with one another, but that's detestable to the Most High. It's an abomination to the Most High. And every time a man lives with a woman that he's not married to, that woman is being that man's whore. I'm just going to keep it the way it is. And that man is playing the part of the whoremonger. That's a fact. So if we want the blessings of the Most High, we have to get ourselves in order. We have to quit being out of order, but then call ourselves calling on the Most High, asking for blessings when we ain't walking with him. We're walking against him.
A lot of times when men are whoremongering, right, they're entertaining a covetous spirit, right? Because why are you laying down with something that don't even belong to you? You know what I mean? So a lot of times, we be in a coveting spirit. Women too be in a coveting spirit, you know, and that's why they can't. Right. That's why they have a hard time submitting to an average guy, an average working man, because they covetous. You know what I'm saying? They want what the other women have. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Mm-hmm. But if we learn to appreciate the things that God give us and dedicate our 100% attention to that, we'll have better results. You know, a lot of people, they eyes, as scripture say, the eye of fool, the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth. You know what I mean? You everywhere. You over here, you over here. We just have to focus on the things that God give us and be appreciative of these things, because how many people don't even are not in relationships, don't even have access to a woman, in jail, have access to a woman or a man, right? We have to appreciate our blessings that come from the Most High, man. And if you got a good person that you know is solid and loyal and have only added, you know, have only brought value to your life, you should cherish that and appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So what do you think about a person that an individual might be seeing, but then come to find out that that individual that they're seeing has an entitled mentality? Like that person is entitled because she thinks she looks good, because there are people out there like that. Oh, they think because she looked this way that she's entitled. You ask, well, why do you think that I should be with you? She say, well, look at me, and you know, all these different type of things. You know, looks, a lot of guys that are still young in mind may fall for some of that. And then there might be some old fools out there too. Yeah. But just because a person can throw on some eyelashes, some makeup, a wig or a weave, and put this on and some whatever, that don't, because at the end of the day, when all that stuff come off, that's still the same old person. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Same old spirit.
And I've seen, working in a school, I've seen when people put on different wigs. Like I said this before, and it's a true statement. I can see people put on different weaves and wigs, and I promise, being around them all the time, I see the attitude change every time they change their hair or they change this. They become a different person. I'm like, what the heck is really going on here? Look for somebody that's genuine. Look for somebody that's mature.
I understand what you mean when you say that.
Talk on it.
You know, and I think that's a good indicator. That's some old school wisdom, actually. You know, you want to get a woman that's herself. You don't want to get a woman that's 2, 3, 4 different people, because that don't even you know, the consistency. You know, I mean, we always talk about purity. The Almighty talk about being pure and becoming pure and purifying ourselves, right? To become pure is to me is to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? You don't have all of these different entities mingled, and you know what I mean. You're consistent in your character. You're consistent. You're stable. So I can understand that. Like with the whole, you talking about like when women change their hair and stuff like that. And, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Whether it be the color
yeah.
or the whole hairstyle or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's I see that a lot with younger females.
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I understand what you mean by that though.
So I got a question. I want to make sure that people understand.
Microphone.
Here's my question. I want to make sure that people understand when I'm talking about the difference between a traditional person's mindset and I'm talking about tradition that was passed down by way of the Most High Yah's laws versus the modern day mindset, which means everybody that's in this barrel here today just doing whatever it is that they want to do and is not in line with what thus says the Most High Yah. So I'm trying to see if people understand the perspective that I'm giving and where that perspective comes from. Because again, you have a lot of modern women, even though you can get, like I say, you can get on the internet and find about thousands, millions probably, whatever. But saying what they want out of a man, right? They want a man, even in dating, to pay their bills, this, that, and the other. Now, they say they want a man to take care of them, but they're not wives or they don't want to do wifely duties. But they feel like they're entitled just on the
benefits.
Right, just because they are a female and they think that they look good, they think that they should be entitled without having to do anything but just be present. And I say, man, you're a fool if you go for something like that. And a fool, I have to get his definition every time I use that word. A fool is just merely a very silly individual or a very unwise individual. That's just like the Most High, y'all let us know ain't gonna be no fools around him. So if we're gonna be a fool, let's be a fool while we're young. Because ain't no fool like an old fool. And as we get older, we should be growing up out of our foolishness, right? Again, we learn better, we do better. Let's check some of these comments out here, see what we got.
We were taught how to be a woman by a single woman and how we don't need a man because we can't do it ourselves. I know I was, but I had to learn through the scriptures of example like Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel, and Ruth. And see, that's the problem. You know, the mindset of people is that's why we have so much disloyalty in relationships because it's not just women, but just people in general can avoid having accountability. The society that has been created that we live in is not a society of accountability. It's a society that's driven on profit. You know what I'm saying? Not PHET, but profit, PROFIT. It's driven on profit by any means necessary to get what you want, right? And disloyalty is there because women have, we have we have technology, right? We have systems set up to where everything can pretty much be handed to you on a plate, on a silver plate. Amazon, things can come to you at your door. You need them, you know what I mean? Everything, but what we have to realize is that men created these systems, men created these societies, right? If we're not raising men to understand that these things have to endure, Solomon said the crown doesn't endure to every generation, right? What happens when all of these things suddenly start to fail? And we see things get bad right now, right? Men have to rise up once again, and re-engineer more solutions because God made us the planet keepers, you know? So much disloyalty out here because people feel like I have options, which you do have options, but everything is not yours. It circles once again back to everything you see. It does not belong to you. All that glitters is not gold, you know? To find true, genuine people that loves you, that will go out their way to make sure that you're good, those people are hard to come by, and everybody knows that. So we have to understand who's on our chessboard. We have to understand who God put on my chessboard to bless me, right? And who's here to trick me, who's my enemies. You know what I'm saying? Right. Sometimes you can be sleeping with a person that do not want to see you become your greatest version, that don't even want to see themselves become their greatest version, because that would mean you would benefit from that.
You just said,
You know what I mean?
You just said something
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
You just said something very true.
They don't want you to win.
You can be with somebody who don't want you to be able to rise above because they may feel like they're down and they want to hold you down as well. And a lot of times people don't understand. That's why those relationships can be so toxic because one don't want the other to rise.
Yeah.
One don't want to have to make changes. They see you've outgrown them or whatever the situation might be. There can be a variable in those situations, but for some reason, somebody don't want to see you prosper. Let's go back here and see if anybody wrote in there if they were ever taught the way they should treat a man, because they were taught, women were taught what they should expect from a man. But I want to know how many of our women, and I know that's very vague right there, were taught how to treat their man, their husband, what the things that a husband should expect from them. Have they been taught that? And see, in a lot of cases, they haven't been taught that because the vast majority of us come from broken homes. Well, the father wasn't there, and a lot of times, in certain cases, mothers be bitter. So a lot of times, the information, the correct information, didn't pass through. And so people end up doing what they've seen, and what they've seen was always failure.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So we end up failing because we weren't taught the correct way. And that's what I'm saying. We have to get to a point to where we have to start self-evaluating, and then just take it very serious and see where we're at. Because we can't expect somebody to treat us well and we're not treating someone else well. That don't make sense. Why would somebody treat me better and I'm treating them like crap? So most people, the vast majority of us, really need to self-evaluate and see where we are and be honest. See, if I won't be honest with myself, Keaton, you ain't got nothing coming. If I won't be honest with myself, this other individual ain't got nothing coming. If I'm a lie to myself, why won't I lie to you? So the bottom line is we've really got a lot of work to do. We have to be honest with ourselves if we want to, in fact, have some good, positive relationships. Because we got to remember this here. If we get into relationships and we have children and I'm unbalanced and this person's unbalanced, you know what we're doing? We're setting our child up to be unbalanced. Because we're their first teacher.
Yeah.
And if they see her and me just going through it all the time, then we're already just throwing them all off, putting them all off balance. And a lot of times parents may do that, not acknowledging the fact that they're ruining their child from a very early age.
The thing is, women they see life different than we do. Period. We two different creatures, man. At this point, we truly are. Women are creatures of empathy. We have to get that to them. They creatures of empathy. Even when they don't act like it, they feel you. Trust me, they do. You know what I mean? It's just that women don't have the ability to have dominion like men do. That's why it's always up to the men to really correct the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because if we leave it up to them, the problem is not going to get corrected. And sometimes correcting the problem mean, hey, you go your way, I go my way. You know what I mean? Sometimes that, and that's what Almighty says. If you see uncleanliness if a man sees uncleanliness in his wife, he shall write her a bill of divorcement and send her out of their house. But she still has the ability to redeem herself as long as she doesn't sleep with another man. Right. Because sometimes when you are with a person for so long, you see a person, you see their goods and their bads, sometimes you can start to lose respect for them. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a fact of life. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes we have to renew that respect by taking distance from one another sometimes. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that may be hard to do, right? We just had a Day of Atonement where we had to distance ourselves from food. Sometimes we have to distance ourselves from the things that we love and come back with the correct perspective where you can learn, because everything Yahweh created, whether it be a animal or a man or a beast, is meant to be respected. You know what I mean? You don't treat a dog right, you see how that dog gonna treat you. You know what I mean? Everything is meant to have respect. Sometimes we have to come back and get a fresh perspective on things, you know. But you want to have love. To me, there is no love without respect.
What is that? Proverbs 12 and 10. See what Proverbs 12 and 10 is. So, let's see.
A righteous man regards the life of his beast.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, you were just talking about that.
Yes, yeah. A righteous man regard. That's Proverbs 12 and 10. It says a righteous man regards the life of his own beast. You know, so everything deserves respect. You know what I mean? And if you love something, you must learn to respect it as well.
And love it.
Yeah.
And love it.
Yeah. Love it and respect it. Honor it. You know what I mean? Love, we formulate our own vision of what we feel love is. But sometimes that may not be the love a person needs. We have to give people the love that they need. And the Almighty is the only one that can give, that has laid that plan out for us. This is the love that Yahweh has laid out, the love that people need, not the love that you want. This is the love that you need. Daughters, keep your virtuousness. You know what I mean? Work on yourself. Don't give yourself to everybody. Men, work on establishing yourself, right? Become a better leader. Become a better person, right? These are the medicines we need, but these are not the medicines we want. And one thing about people do what they want. People do what they want to do. You know what I mean? When it comes to relationships and all things, people do what they want to do. And that I do know, you know.
Ask a question to the women. Please type something in, if you will. What do you know about marriage? Something positive. What should a wife bring to the marriage, according to your understanding? And do you believe that the man is the head and the woman is following, or do you believe that marriage is a partnership? And understand, when I say partnership, I'm saying it in that sense. And I am saying that marriage is in fact not a partnership, because if there's a partnership, I say yes and you say no, then we're at a stalemate. And that ain't the way the Almighty designed it. The Almighty put the husband as the head, and he made that clear to the wife. He made it clear to the wife, is what I'm saying. Because again, in Genesis 3rd chapter 16th verse, he talked to the woman. That don't mean that a man has to remind the woman. Don't mean that at all. Because if the woman, meaning the wife, if she's out of order, then she's out of order first with the Most High himself. Because that's a commandment that he gave. Right? So we have to keep everything in its proper perspective.
Yeah, I love that y'all made us the head, because it makes sense. We built two different ways. I love women, and I love the role that they supposed to play.
So you have
Only thing I don't love about the women is when they out of role, when they out of their role.
You have masculine and you have feminine.
Yeah,
The masculine should be the more dominant.
yeah.
The feminine should be the more soft side. You see what I'm saying? That feminine is going to be that nurturer. But a lot of times, because like I said, we come from dysfunctional backgrounds, and and we come from failing communities of marriage, should I say. A lot of times our feminine women have become masculine, and for some kind of reason here, the masculine men have become feminine. And a lot of this has been by design, but it's not the Almighty's design. But when we're out of order, we've caused things to be changed. And we have to get ourselves back in order. And we have to make ourselves servants of the Most High Yah again. We just have to get right with our Creator so that He'll be our help and help us with our relationships. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we're failing one another and we're failing our children. And that's sad.
It's unacceptable.
Because we come from royalty.
it's really unacceptable. You know what I mean?
It is.
We've gotten to the point to where it's unacceptable. You know what I mean? And we claim to be the most spiritual people. We claim to be the people connected to God, but it's like the results that we are getting and we're producing is not that right there. You know, but it's unacceptable. You know what I mean? To me, it's unacceptable. Only thing we can do, because you know the righteous have always been the minority in the world. Only thing we can do is try to be an example. Try to be an example of how people should walk for relationships, for our children, being better role models. And that's everything. That's everything. That's how we can create a better generation. And the wicked know, the evil know. I mean, the wicked know how they can stop, how they can delay righteousness coming forth. And that's to attack the family structure. Attack the family structure. That's the same thing Pharaoh did in Egypt. Attack the men, right? So men are being attacked in ways that it's almost like it's like a animal being in a zoo or an animal being in a cage. It's not in its natural habitat. You know, so he can't function how he normally should because this is all, you know what I mean? Like this is what he sees, this is what he gets, right? But family is the key though. That's what God is going to restore back unto us before he, you know, comes back and judge this planet. He's going to restore that family structure because that's off the chain right now. It's ridiculous. It's unacceptable.
I have to ask this question again. Ladies, if you're out there in a marriage, please just type this in. Who should lead and who should follow? That's a simple question. It's not a belittling question. I just want to see the mind state of the people that are on this podcast. Anybody, ladies, men, whoever, just type something in. Let me see my screen move here. Who should lead and who should follow according to the word of the Most High? Right? Who's the head of that household in a marriage? Because, see, we can't talk a whole lot about this boyfriend, girlfriend type stuff. And, ladies, if you've been with a guy for X amount of time and some years that been by, you should have a conversation and find out what's going on, unless it's something that you both already agreed to, that you're not getting married, you're just playing house or whatever the situation is. I don't know how we expect to get blessings like that, but that's not my business. I'm not trying to interject myself in anybody's relationship, but what I am trying to do is show us how to get those blessings. Because we're on the Almighty's mercy right now.
Yep.
We're living on His mercy right now. If it weren't for His mercy, none of us would be here. Because it only takes one transgression to lose our life. And we've committed that one transgression probably a gazillion times along with other transgressions over and over and over again. I personally believe that when we learn better, we should do better.
Yeah.
You're right. There's no such thing as girlfriend, boyfriend. That's exactly what it should be like. What did it say? There's no such thing as girlfriend, boyfriend. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't. You're right. It ain't about no girlfriend, boyfriend. It's about husband, wife, and children. Right? And the Almighty gave the wife as a companion, as a helpmate, and to help us procreate and also be a companion. We have to want to be better. I don't know how many people on this podcast are believers in the Most High Yah's word, but that's what I live by. Like I say, we learn. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely, just like the next individual. Have I been out of order? Yes, without a doubt. Do I want to stay out of order? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So many ways to be a fool. I know we can't miss them all, but I'm too old to continually be a fool. There's an expression say if you're gonna be a fool while you're young. That way you got time to grow up out of it, because ain't no fool like an old fool. And we don't want to go out just representing ourselves to be very foolish people. And again, a fool is either a very silly or a very unwise individual. And we're supposed to be examples, good examples. Now, either way, we're going to be an example of what it's like to be a righteous servant, or we're going to be an example of what it's like not to be a righteous servant, being just the opposite. Somebody that's wicked, that's an abomination in the sight of the Most High Yah. And a lot of times, ladies, don't let these men hold you in a position to where you're both going to be condemned. And men, don't let these ladies hold you in a position where you're both going to be condemned. Because we all know what we do. And we all got a judgment to face one day. Whether it be sooner or whether it be later. Let's see. It's a courtship, then you're married. So how much time do you think we should spend on that courtship? Because I know that within 3 to 6 months, in fact, if you're really interested in being connected, being yoked with, being married to, or tied to that individual. And I know marriage is work. Keep that in mind, people, because a lot of times people been sold that fairy tale thinking that it's that Disney life where you get the house, the car, the dog, the picket fence, and, everything is just beautiful and it's a man's responsibility to keep his wife happy. No, her happiness is not on you. A person has to learn how to be happy within themselves. That's to say, if you're no longer around, then she can never be happy again. We've been taught a lot. We have to realize certain things are just untrue. A person have to learn how to find their own happiness. A lot of times people they can love just to be out on the beach and they be happy. They can be planting things in the garden that just makes them happy. You see what I'm saying? They have to do things. They can go roller skating and just be happy. But your happiness shouldn't be dependent on another individual. All we can do is add to that happiness. Period. That's why you keep sex off the table and be who you are up front. There you go. I like that.
You getting straight to the point, ain't it?
Let's see, because sometimes people hide who they are, and it takes time to bring that. That's why I say sometimes people send a representative. And in a lot of cases, you might have one, if not both parties, when they first get together. That's not who that person really is. They holding back on some things. You see what I'm saying? And then once they start getting comfortable, then you start seeing who the real individual is. But within the first 3-6 months, you ought to know if that's somebody you want to build a relationship with. Right? And we have to stop looking at low vibrational people. We have to stop doing that. We have to start acknowledging people who can add value to our life. And stop just looking at things like, or he's cute, or she's pretty, or she look like this, or he look like that. Or I can have a good time with her, or she can have a good time with him. There's more to life than that. You're talking about somebody who's supposed to be committing their life and spending their life with another individual. Keep it in mind, you're two different individuals, probably with two different mindsets. So the first thing you got to do is find out if you can get along over the long haul. Can you talk about whatever it is that need to be talked about? Are you emotionally mature? Is she emotionally mature? Can you have those conversations that need to be had when things are off track? If you don't have that, then you have problems. So listen, we don't want to prolong this. Is there anything by way of the internet that anybody want to type in or have us address or anything before we shut it down? And we'll come up with some more pertinent information.
Walter says, this is a partnership and we making a covenant with each other. I'm making a promise to the Most High to do what I'm supposed to do as a man.
Explain to them the technical part about that partnership to see it.
Y'all brothers
Exactly.
with a camp. I came in late. Yeah, we were with the House of Israel in Cincinnati. You can look that up on YouTube, House of Israel in Cincinnati. And also go over to our YouTube channel, which we're broadcasting from now, Seter Leon. And we have, various different shows on there. We got more coming that we ain't even really launched yet. But tap in to us, House of Israel, www.houseofisrael.org. And check us out. Tap in. Anything else? Shout out, brother. Tune in with us next week, too, or in 2 weeks. We're here every other week.
Yeah.
So tap in.
No, we just want to. When we do come on, we want as many people that want to chime in. Please chime in. You can bring your questions. You can have your comments. We definitely want to interact with you. That makes it a lot more entertaining. And you might have, but our subject is always going to be on this particular podcast is always going to be about relationships that hopefully will lead to a marriage if in fact they're not already married. It's about trying to put people in a position where they understand what they need to be doing in order to be right in the sight of the Most High. Because like it's been stated on there, the Almighty never said go get yourself a boyfriend or a girlfriend. He said it wasn't good for man to be alone, right? So he made him a wife. He gave him a helpmate. Period. And so we have to make sure that we just try to be in order. It's a shame that we are people who embrace the term baby mama and baby daddy, right? But we don't see what that's actually doing to the child. We handicapping the child right off the bat. Because when a child is born, they should have a mother and a father who should be married and raising their child under the same roof, with the father being the head of that household. Order should already be established, but we're going about things but backwards. And so when the Almighty blesses with a child, sometimes the parents, we already cursing the child because we're not doing things in a way that's going to be a benefit to that child. Like I say, if baby mama house here and baby daddy house here, the child in the middle, where the child get their foundation from? If the mother and the father are at odds and they don't feel the same way about the way the child should even be raised, or they don't feel the same way about the Almighty's laws, about the way we should govern ourselves in our houses and raise our children, that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. And then when we don't take it serious, we're hurting the child. Shame on us. Shame on us. That being said, we're going to always tell you the truth, regardless of how you feel about it. I am anyway. I'm going to go hard for the Most High. Because when we talk to you guys, we are, in fact, talking to Yah's people. Period. So I know we have to be mindful and careful of the words that actually come up out of our mouth. So, you got any last things? We hope that you guys subscribe. Those that may not be subscribed, share this video. Pass it on to somebody who may appreciate it or whatnot. And hopefully next time you all tune in and have somebody else tune in as well, so we can chop it up some more. All right?
All right, stay tuned. We got some more podcasts coming up. Hallelujah.
Shalom, shalom.
Facebook audience, tune in to us. Seter Leon, type that in, and we'll be live streaming from there. Follow all the Seter Leon pages on Facebook. Hallelujah. Shalom.